Good day everyone. For this video, I will be going to report all about chapter 6 and chapter 7. So, what is drug? Drug is a chemical substance that brings about physiological, behavioral, and or psychological change in person taking it. So all medicine are drugs, but not all drugs are medicine drug. So what is medicine drug? So a medicine drug is a substance which taking into the human body cures illness and or relieves signs, symptoms of disease. So what is dangerous drugs? So dangerous drugs is all about a substance affecting the central nervous system which when taken into the human body brings about physical, emotional, or behavioral change in a person taking it. So, dangerous drug is very harmful of our nervous system because our nervous system is brings physical and emotional. So, dangerous act may affect. And what is drugs abuse? So, drug abuse is any non-medical use of drugs that cause physical, psychological, legal, economic, or social damage to the user or to people affected by the user's behavior. Then, abuse usually refers to illegal drugs but may also be applicable to drugs that are available legally, such as prescribed medication and certain over-the-counter medication. So, illegal drugs in our society is very abusive because many people abuse our drugs. So, they have some many reason why they abuse. For example, a broken family problem, or else a love life problem. Then, classification of drugs according to origin. So, according to legal classification, according to international classification, according to pharmacological classification effects. So, they have classification of drugs that may affects. So, according to origin, natural drugs are active ingredients. Secondary, metabolic products of plants and other living system that may be isolated by extra. For example, raw opium or marijuana, kukubas. So that's a marijuana is familiar to our environment. So marijuana is also a plants metabolic products of plants. Then synthetic drugs are artificially produced substance synthesis in the laboratory for the illicit market, which are almost wholly manufactured from chemical compounds in illicit laboratories. So for example is methamphetamine barbiturates. So according to legal classification, so RA 9165, so Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Acts of 2002. So Presidential Decree 1619, volatile substance. Then RA 6425, classified as regulated and prohibited. So under the 9165, the term prohibited and regulated was changed into dangerous drugs with the following classification. So under sa 9165 is the dangerous drug as will change. Then number 1, immediate precursors, a chemical substance used in the clandestine manufacturing process becomes incorporate in full or in part into final molecules or of a substance under international control. So number 2 is essential chemical substance used as reagent or solvent in the illegal manufacture of controlled substance. So number 3 is narcotics, psychotropic, and designer. Then according to international classification, so narcotic substance any of a class of substance that blunt the senses as opium, morphine, belladonna, marijuana, and alcohol that in large quantities produce euphoria, stop, or coma that when used constantly can use habituation or addiction, and that are used in medicine to relieve pain, cause sedation, and induce sleep. So narcotic substance is a produce of euphoria, then medicine to relieve pain. Then B is psychotropic substance. Drugs are other substance that affects how the brain works and causes change in mood, awareness, through feelings or behavior. Example of psychotropic substance include alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, marijuana, and certain pain medicines, also called psychoactive substance. Then C is designer drugs. So, designer drugs is a structural or functional analog of a controlled substance that has been designed to mimic the pharmacological effects of the original drug while avoiding classification as illegal and or detection in standard drug test. So, designer drugs is all about functional analog or controlled substance has been designed. Then next, so according to pharmacological classification effects, so stimulants, hallucinogens, depressants, inhalants. So stimulants are drugs which increase alertness of physical disposition. So examples, amphetamine. So street name, eye opener, lead popper, pip, pills, upper hearts. What it is, reduce appetite, relieves mental depression, comfort fatigue, and sleepiness. How taken orally as tablet or capsule effects. So general wakefulness, increased alertness, initiative, toxic from restlessness to coma and death, danger, dependence, overdose, violent, bizarre behavior. So, it's a very salutable because all ideas is taken here. So, example, shabu, methamphetamine, hydrochloride. So, street name, poor man's cocaine, swabs, obas, siupaw, shy, ice. What is it is? White odorless crystalline powder with a better numbing taste. How taken? Ingestion, inhalation, chasing the dragon, sniffing, injection, smoke, effects. So, general anxiety, irritability, irrational behavior. So, long-term psychosis similar to schizophrenia, difficulty in concentrating, loss of stress in sex. So, physical chest pain, irregular heartbeat, hypertension, convulsion, death, danger, injection from contaminated needles, similar to rest of infections, phlebitis, septicemia, AIDS, or etc. Then hallucinogens are drugs which affect sensation, thinking, self-awareness, and emotion. So, hallucinogens, which is affect our thinking of ourself, emotion. Then, example, ecstasy, street name, XTC, Adam Essence, herbals. So, how taken, swallowing, or inhalation effects, exaggerated emotions, makes HR and BP high, up, dress, the mouth, stiffens arms, legs, jaws, dilutes pupils of eyes, cause faintness, chills, sweating, and nausea, danger, it can really kill. Then example, LSD, lysergic acid, diethylamide. Then strychnine, Lucy in the Sky, what? 6 diamonds, wedding bells, acid, white sugar, lightning, cubes, brain eaters. So what is a semi-synthetic alkaloid substance? Extracted from a fungus which grows on rye, wheat, and other grains, odorless, tasteless, colorless. So effects is psychological, vivid hallucination, confusion, blurring, and distinction between conscious and unconscious through thought, etc. Physical dilated pupils, flash face, increased BP, etc. Then dangers may cause abnormal amount of breakage of chromosomes of WBCS that carry genes which may result to miscarriage and birth defects. Then example of marijuana, so street name. So Mary Jane Flower Papugi, Brownest, Damu, Potia, John, Dupe. So what it is? Comes from cannabis sativa L. Indian hemp. Looks like fine green tobacco. So how taken? Smoke in pipes. Cigarettes can be taken in food, made into candy, sniffed in powder form mixed with honey and or butter. Smoke in pipes. Cigarettes can be taken in food made into candy, snipped in powder form mixed into honey or butter. Effects: immediate, faster heartbeat, bloodshot eyes, dry mouth, long-term chest pain, temporary loss of fertility, cancer, marijuana burnout. So danger: slow down users' ment and so danger slows down users' mental and psychomotor activities. Long-term use may lead to psychological dependence, may lead to cancer. Then depressants are drugs which depress or lower the function of central nervous system. So our central nervous system is affected of drugs, depressant. So types of depressant: narcotics, a drug which induce sleep, hypnotics or stupor and relieve pain, analgesics, so something that soothes or causes of a sensation of mental numbness. This includes opiates, heroin, morphine, and codeine. So tranquilizers, a substance that reduce anxiety, ease tension, and relax muscles. So sedative and hypnotics calm the nerves, reduce tension, and induce sleep. Example, barbiturates, alcohol. So inhalants, these are any liquid, solid, or mixed substance that has the property of releasing toxic, psychoactive vapors or fumes. Example, solvent, glue, gasoline, kerosene, paint, thinner, naphthalene. what are considered dangerous drugs? So, dangerous drug is a substance affecting the central nervous system, which, when taken into human body, brings about physical, emotional, or behavioral change in a person taking it. Then, it is a substance which, when taken into the human body, alters mood, perception, feelings, and behavior. So, dangerous drug acts which affect our central nervous system, which affect our emotional, behavioral, then also person changes. So under Republic Act 6425, otherwise known as the Dangerous Drug Act of 1972, dangerous are classified into three main categories. So A, prohibited drugs, B, regulated drugs, and volatile substance. So prohibited drugs, which includes opium and its active components, and derivatives such as heroin and morphine. Life of its derivatives principle, cocaine, alpha and beta Ukraine, hallucinogenic drugs such as mescaline, lysergic acid, diethylamide, LSD, and other substance production similar effects in substance producing similar effects in the herb and its derivatives. All preparation made from any of the foregoing and other drugs and chemical preparation, whether natural or synthetic, with the psychological effects or narcotic or a hallucinogenic drug. Then regulated drug, which includes self-inducing actives such as secobarbital, phenobarbital, barbital, amorbarbital, and any other drugs which contains a salt or derivative and salt isomer or salt of isomer of amphetamine, such as benzodrine or dexedrine, or any drugs which produce psychological action similar to amphetamine, and hypnotic drugs as methacholine, nitrazepam, or any other compound producing similar psychological effects as amended by PD number 1683 dated March 14, 1980. Then C. Volatile substance, liquid, solid, or mixed substance having the property of releasing toxic vapors, or any chemical substance which, when sniffed, inhaled, or introduced into physical system or body, induce a condition of intoxication, inebriation, excitement, stupefaction, etc. Republic Act 9165, otherwise known as the Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, gives a single definition for prohibited and regulated drugs. The old law defines the term dangerous drugs are pertaining to other. So drugs dependence means a state of psychic and physical defense or both on a dangerous drug, that drugs are periodic or continuing basics. So physical dependence, the body physical system changes until the body needs that particular drug in order to function. Mental or psychological dependence, a need of drugs in order to feel good, to get by or feel normal. So idiosyncrasy or side effect, use refers to the act of injections intravenously or intramuscularly, or consuming either by chewing, smoking, sniffling, eating, swallowing, drinking, or otherwise introducing into the physical system of the body any of the dangerous drugs. So, means the act of giving a dangerous drugs, whether for money or any other material consideration. Question: what happens to confiscated, seized, and surrendered dangerous drugs? Plant sources of dangerous drugs, controlled precursors, and essentially chemicals, instruments, paraphernalia, and laboratory equipment. Then answer. The Philippine Drugs Enforcement Agency, PDEA, shall have custody or all dangerous drugs plant, source of dangerous drugs, controlled precursors, and essential chemical as well as the instrument, paraphernalia, or a laboratory equipment that are confiscated, says. So the apprehending team on the group in custody or the confiscated drugs shall immediately prepare and inventory and photograph and items in the presence of the accused or his counsel. If representative from the media, public official, the items will then be submitted to the PDEA Forensic Laboratory for examination within 24 hours. After receipt of the items, the Forensic Laboratory examiner shall issue a certain certification of the laboratory's result. So the court shall conduct an ocular inspection of the confiscated items within 72 hours. After the filing of the criminal case, the PDEA shall then destroy or burn the items in the presence of the accused. So a representative from media and DOJ civil society groups and any elected official, however, a representative sample shall be retained after the judgment has been rendered in the criminal case. The trial prosecutor shall inform the Dangerous Drugs Board that the case has been terminated and ask permission from the court to turn over the representative sample to the PDEA. So, Chapter 7, Examination of Dangerous Drugs Acts. So, drugs testing is a form of forensic testing. Drug test result issues should be scientifically, legally, and forensically defensible. So, drug identification is a branch of forensic chemistry that deals with the scientific examination of drugs and volatile substance. Drugs identification is usually conducted by forensic chemist, chemical officer to determine the forensics of dangerous drugs. On submitted specimens, the forensic chemist, chemical officer also conducts drugs with or body fluids of suspected drug exposures and users to determine the presence of dangerous drugs metabolites. So, paraphernalia like smoking pipes, toters, and aluminum foils should also be submitted for examination to determine the presence of dangerous drugs. So, forms of drugs. So, drugs are various forms. This includes tablets, capsules, liquid, powder, break, or decks of marijuana, crushed leaf, and uprooted plants. So, examination of the sample taken from alleged confiscated dangerous drugs. So, methods of examination, qualitative examination, quantitative examination. So, steps common to qualitative and quantitative methods. So, selection of method to be used. So, physical test, sampling, sample preparation, chemical test, confirmatory examination, calculation, and interpretation of dates, drawing of conclusion, and writing report. Then, top pieces in the examination of the alleged confiscated drugs, dangerous drugs. Screening test, preliminary test, also known as the color test. So this test is non-specific and preliminary in nature. So it is employed to reduce the family or group of drugs to small and manageable number. So, screening test includes a series of color tests producing characteristics colors for each family or group of drugs. This is done by adding specific region to known sample in a spot plate. So, screening test is quite simple to perform. Even the investigators in the field. As a matter of fact, field tests using these techniques are being taught in narcotics. So note, it must be noted that positive results of these tests are not conclusive, as there are substances that may give some same positive color reactions upon addition of the specific reagents. Hence, confirmatory tests must be performed by the forensics chemist, chemical officer on case to establish the presence and identification of dangerous drug. It must also be noted that only those specimens that yield presumptive positive result are subject to confirmatory test in order to confirm if the positive result of the screening test is really positive. So, confirmatory test is the method employed to confirm the result of the screening preliminary test. This test involves the application of an analytical procedures to identify the presence of specific drugs or metabolites. This is independent of the screening test, and which use techniques and chemical principles different from that of the initial test in order to ensure reliability and accuracy. There are several methods used in. So, chromatography is the process of separating mixture and comparing the migration of its components, which is standard. Some chromatographic techniques include gas chromatography, thin layer chromatography, high pressure liquid chromatography. So what is gas chromatography? So it is a separate technique. The mobile phase is a gas. Separation is based on the different immigration rates among sample components. Spectroscopic confirmation method, whereby light is used to identify the sample specimen. Next is Fourier transformation infrared spectroscope, FTIR, used for the identification pure organic substance, identifies organic substance, particularly dangerous drugs and explosive ingredients based on their characteristics, functional groups. In layman's term, the resulting spectrum could be referred to as the fingerprints of the substance. Ultraviolet visible spectroscopy, used for screening of dangerous drugs in urine specimen. So, examination of the urine specimen. The rate of excretion from the body depends on the drugs solubility in fat. Water soluble drugs such as cocaine are excreted quickly, while fat soluble drugs such as marijuana may take several weeks or months before excretion. Drug tests must be conducted to apprehended individual who are suspected to be users. Then intends when to allow and observe urine specimen collection. So when donor is physically unable to go to laboratory, when donor is involved in a crime scene, when donor is involved in a post-accident trauma, when donor is critically ill. Different types of tampered urine specimen. So adulterated specimen contain either a substance that is not a normal constituent for the type of specimen, or containing endogenous substance at a concentration that is not a normal psychological concentration. Then, so Fourier transformation infrared. So ultraviolet visible spectroscopy used for screening dangerous drug as in urine specimen. So examination of the urine specimen, the rate of exertion. Then different tampered urine specimen, so adulterated specimen. is not normal constituent for type of specimen containing the indigenous substance or concentration that is not normal psychological concentration. So diluted refers to specimen with less than normal psychological constituents. So substitute a specimen which has been derived through switching or replacement of the original sample. Then ways to adulterate urine samples, so addition of salt, addition of juice, addition of detergent, addition of bleach and other oxidizing adulterants, addition of illicit drugs. So ways to substance a urine sample. Urine from friends or other person not using drugs may be used as substitute specimen. Replace sample with other substance similar to urine in appearance. Ways to dilute a urine specimen, international dilution. So intake a plenty of water before collection or drinking or herbal tea, etc. External dilution. So addition of water to previously collected urine. Then parameters for validity test. So initial validity test, so physical characteristics such as color, odor, etc. So volume, temperature, pH, specific gravity, net rates. So confirmatory validity test. So other methods of confirmatory validity test is physical characteristics, visual, determine volume, same physical characteristic, temperature using thermometer, pH meter, calibrated pH yachts, refractometer. So, criteria in determining tampered urine specimen. So, when do we consider a urine specimen as invalid? A urine specimen is considered invalid under the following circumstances: adulterated, substituted, or diluted, improperly collected, handled, and stored, improperly documented. And that's all. Thank you and God bless.